everyone, and welcome back to Influenced by Kim. I'm your host, Hofik Kim Cohen Myers, and today I have such a special guest. It's my husband, and today is an episode that I've wanted to record with him for a pretty long time now. So over the summer, we had gone to Tulum, and Ben had done a Bufo ceremony, which I wanted to record this podcast episode because a lot of people have never heard of Bufo. They don't know what it is. So I have Ben here, and I kind of would love for him to share his experience and all the things. I'm going to give you my little brief understanding of it all, but Bufo is very similar to ayahuasca. Essentially, it's like a natural medicine, and it is... this is me. Ben will have maybe a different explanation, but so, okay, you have ayahuasca and you have Bufo. One is like out of nature, right? Like ayahuasca is out of nature. Ayahuasca is known for being the feminine energy of healing, so to speak. It's feminine energy. And so a lot of people with ayahuasca, what happens is that they're purging, they're vomiting. It's a very long process. And I don't know. I haven't done it, but I've never done any drugs. I'm a little virgin. But if I were to ever, I used to think that if I were to ever do anything, it would be ayahuasca. But the only reason why I wouldn't do it is because I hate vomiting and I think it's the worst fucking thing on planet Earth. There's a lot of that comes with ayahuasca. And so essentially ayahuasca, I guess it depends on the person and the situation and the thing, but from what I know, you know, it can be up to like 6 hours of you just like throwing up and like purging the whole situation. On the flip side of things, we have Bufo, and Bufo, so if ayahuasca is the feminine energy, Bufo is the masculine energy. And so when I say that, it's like you're purging trauma and emotion out of the body. It's a healing modality, I'll say, for both of them. But with Bufo, it's very intense. It's the most intensest, what do I want to call it? Like psychedelic, I guess. It's DMT, and you literally have a near-death life experience. Like full blown. So the only time your brain ever releases that type of chemical that it releases in Bufo is when you are born and when you die. It's really fucking insane. And when you ask Ben, and if you ask Ben, he thinks that he 1,000% died. It's not even negotiable. He thinks that he died. He had a full blown near death life experience. And with Bufo, it's very like short-lived, so to speak, even though it feels like forever. But an entire ceremony is probably an hour, and then the actual experience is probably like 20 minutes long. It feels way longer. It's really, really, really intense. It's the most intense thing you can do. And you're basically smoking like kind of he did this in like a tent. Like a chief tent, like imagine like Native Americans. We did this in Tulum in like a shaman, very nice place. And so essentially, you're smoking this specific toad's poison, that gives you a hallucinogenic experience, which the reason why people do Bufo is not only to have a near-death life experience, it's obviously for a healing situation, but the main thing behind Bufo is that you are killing your ego. And so with the death of the ego is like rebirth, like a newer version of yourself. It's like you're kind of given a second chance of life, and you're supposed to like operate more from a soul-based place. Anyways, Ben's going to tell you more about this, but I just kind of wanted to give a background for people who don't know of Bufo or anything of it. So without further ado, let's get Ben into the mix. So me and Ben have tried to record a podcast episode before, and we're going to attempt to do it. We've done, I think, 2 other ones. I have not released them yet just because we did them with 2 different mics, and it just got really overwhelming as fuck to try to edit it, especially when we talk over each other's words, and it just got really confusing. So we're going to do this very different with one mic. It's kind of going to be like sort of like an interview formula. I'm testing it out. Let's see how it goes. So without further ado, I want to ask you, Ben, why did you decide to do Bufo? Have you thought about it before? Like, what was your reason behind it? And were you scared?
Good questions. Gonna tap into that in a second. I'm really excited to share all of that. And first, I just want to thank you for having me here in our beautiful dining room, having this podcast with my very detailed wife. You said everything really, really accurate when it comes to explaining about the whole Bufo lifestyle. But yeah, this was a really intense experience. A lot of good, a lot of things that I was, not really sure of, but I'll try to start from the beginning. And, so yeah, I was pretty much in Tulum last year with my beautiful wife and dogs, and I was going through a tough time myself. Besides the fact that we were still not living in a house of our own, we were going from hotel to hotel while we were searching for houses. But I was going through a mentally challenging time for my own life, and I went through some depression, went through a lot of emotional moments where I was confused with myself, and pretty much the depression took over, and I couldn't really control my emotions sometimes, and things got intense at moments, and
I think you're lost.
I was lost. Yeah, I would say that, because there were a lot of things that I experienced in the last few years where I was feeling that I was really at the high in a way of really like successful in all of my aspects in life, not like business only, but like I felt like I was kind of like, if there's 1 out of 10, like closer to the 10 in all of the aspects of my life. And things went down, and that kind of like that was the moment where one thing led to the other, and definitely there's a lot of lessons. Thank God now I'm not in that place, and now I'm like kind of like in an opposite place where I feel great, also because of an amazing wife. But pretty much back to the experience.
Okay, wait, so I want to know, how long were you depressed for, so that we have context? Like, I want to know how long you were depressed before you did the Bufo ceremony, and why did you decide that that's something, like that's a route that you want to go? Like, why not therapy? Why not, I don't know, something else, ayahuasca? Like, why not something else?
I believe it was, I don't know, a few months to 6 months of you're giving me a face. You have the memory here. I'm not you're the strong side of the memorizer. You tell us.
Well, I think that everything took a spiral and an unexpected turn, kind of like the day after our wedding. So that was end of August, but we'll call it September of 2024. And when you did your ceremony, that was like July of 2025. So I would say like a year almost, not a couple of months, but that's just me. Thank you.
Let's call it a year. The wife is always right. Regardless, how did we get into... Why did I get into that? Oh.
Why did you choose?
So why did I choose that? Yeah, no, I mean, we were looking into different options. I was looking into like therapy as well. I was looking into different types of people, psychologists, or anything in that field that could help me. It wasn't like we weren't. I couldn't find something that aligned with what I needed exactly. And we ended up in Tulum. And while we were there, I still was feeling lost in a way, and we ran into this guy.
Wait, can I talk about it? Okay, it's my turn. Why do I get so excited? There was this guy, his name was Angel, and he literally reminds me of the character from the movie Rent. Do you remember Rent?
Yeah.
The musical? His name was
What are you
Angel.
talking about though from the movie?
Angel, he was like the gay. It was a na-na-na-na on Avenue A when a little and came up. Okay, of course, Ben doesn't remember anything.
What are you talking about?
Okay, so we basically were jumping from Airbnb to Airbnb. We had basically put all of our things into storage. I'm just going to rewind the story for a little bit. Ben was going through a very dark time in his life, depression, a lot of self-sabotage, and he just needed like a massive shift and a change, and he no longer wanted to live in our house anymore. And he kept having, I don't know, anxiety and panic and fear, and he just kind of wanted to leave his old life behind and just start a brand new page. He wanted to, I don't know, live on top of a mountain in the middle of nowhere for 3 months, which I explained to him was just not realistic, and it just like was not a thing. It wasn't gonna happen. And so an alternative that we decided, or Ben more so wanted, I did not really want this, but I knew I needed to do this for him, was that we were gonna leave our home. This is the place where we met in the elevator, we fell in love, we got engaged, we got married, all in the same apartment complex for over like a 5-year period. And we decided to put our things into storage, and then kind of like nomads traveling the world and working from our phones and trying to survive in the fucking jungles of Tulum. And so on one of the days we had basically booked an Airbnb, and we had this really nice Airbnb host. Well, actually it first started as a fucking mess where our room wasn't ready, it was not clean, it was given the wrong room, there was like a power outage, like I don't know, there was like a shit show of a show. And this guy named Angel was the Airbnb host or manager. He didn't own the property, but he was the manager, and he was just like, I'm so sorry that all this mix-up happened, and he like really tried to take care of us. And he came, I think, with like a Palo Santo and like I don't know, like a bracelet or a candle or something, and he's like, hey, like to new beginnings, and if you guys need anything. And he like even paid for like water for us from his own money, and we were like, wow, this guy's like so nice, he's so generous. And he was really trying really hard to make sure that we don't leave a bad review and like the whole situation. And then we just kind of started talking to him over the next few days where we were staying there. We got into all these deep conversations with him, and we like really liked this guy. He really loved our dogs. Oh yeah, I remember he got us like this cute little dog bags because we ran out of dog poop bags, and he got us like this cute little thing for them. And he was like so generous and so kind. And basically he was telling us that a couple of months ago his life was in shambles. He was an alcoholic, he was a drug addict, he was suicidal, he tried killing himself, he had no money, he was basically like almost on the streets. Everyone thought that he was gonna die from drugs or from suicide. We were like, what the fuck is happening? You know what? I think that he told us this when we were checking out. So like after staying there and talked to him, and he also like before he shared this with us, he told us that he was about to get married in a couple of days. He shared like all these amazing things, and then he like shared, because I happen to be this like person who people just like open up to and share like all of their life's things, I guess, with me. And when he was sharing it, I was like, Ben, like come here, because he was telling it to me. I was like, come listen, like, are you hearing this guy? And I was like shocked, because he just did not seem like anything that he says that he used to be. He was like, I was disgusting, I was egotistic, I was this and that. And he's like, and Bufo changed my life. And we're like, what the fuck is Bufo? And he's like, oh, it's like this toad, it's like a ceremony. It's kind of like ayahuasca. It basically kills the ego. And basically, he was sharing over the lobby outdoor in psycho humidity when we were melting and dying and trying to wait for a fucking taxi. He was sharing how Bufo had completely transformed his life in like a month or two, and how he completely stopped drinking. He completely stopped smoking. He found this great job like this one, and he's trying to fix his life, and he has a home, and he rescued like 3 fucking dogs, and he saved them, and he met the love of his life, and he's getting married, and he became a vegetarian, and he just wants to help people and save people, and he's just no longer in his ego. I mean, this was like a really wild as fuck inspiring story. It was just insane, to say the least. And I was like, where did you do this? And he said, in Tulum. And we're like, where? And I was like, Ben, like, are you listening? Are you listening? Because I felt like Ben didn't do drugs, and he wasn't an alcoholic, thank God. Like, he didn't drink or do drugs. But a lot of the things that Angel was describing, Ben had done or had gone through, like major depression, just a lot of the details that he was sharing. I was like, whoa, yo, this is Ben. He needs to hear this. And so, yeah, I just kind of wanted to give that that background. And then we just started researching like what it actually is. Now, I don't like, that's a cool story. That's a great, but like, I'm like, okay, like, if you guys know me, like, I'm a fucking investigator. I need to research this shit. I need to make sure it's legit. I need to make sure my husband's not going to die. And Ben knows this about me. I mean, I feel like the world knows this about me. If you know who I am, I'm very anti-drug, like getting wasted, poisoning your body, using alternatives to healing. Like, I'm very raw. I'm like, fucking face your shit, deal with your shit, own your shit, like fucking rip your heart out, sew it back together, cry your fucking eyes out, be depressed, get over it, fucking own your shit. Like, I'm very raw on like how I like to heal. It's very like, yeah, like I don't like to rely on just different things. And I feel like if Ben wasn't in this stage of his life, I would have not even allowed him to do this. Like, it was just an absolutely no. But I felt like because Ben was so lost for so long, so helpless, so hopeless, so looking for a direction, for inspiration, for something to shake him, to wake him up, to save him, I would have told my brother, like, no. You know, I would have told anyone that I know no, but Ben, he like really needed this. That's like my honest opinion. Do you have anything you want to say about all that?
I also remember that guy was telling us that if he weren't to do that, then he wouldn't be alive.
True.
And that's something that really hit me. And I really think that, you know, that's something that led me to be more curious, because he seemed so well. And the fact that he told us that he was doing so bad and that he wouldn't survive is kind of like how he was saying it too. If he weren't to do that, I'm like, that sounds like a magic pill, like, because how he looked like and how he, from what he said, how he was. So, you know, after that, you know, we were looking at different like websites, or not websites, there's different things about like videos about it. And I looked more and more, and every time I saw like a review from someone speaking on video about it, it just seemed like so like too good to be true every single time. I'm like, in every single video that you see about someone speaking about it on like the reviews or whatever, it literally sounds like a magic pill. Like, how is this possible? And it still does if you watch videos about it. So,
was it like a magic pill? Yes or no?
I'm not going to say that now. It's going to ruin your podcast. They have to wait till the end. What do you mean?
Okay. So.
Dun, dun, dun. So I investigated, researched more, and, you know, I'm not a person that does or did anything crazy like this in my life. You know, if I've done anything, it's like I drank alcohol when I was like young, like, you know, in my like young 20s, and that's it. I'm not like someone who does drugs. I don't care for it and I don't want to. Um, or I don't even drink today either. So it's not like something that I would even think of doing. But then there's the whole spiritual part about it, and obviously how it can heal you, which got me intrigued and more curious. And you know, it's not like something that I'm trying to do to, you know, for the drug. It's for me to get healed. And that's when I'm like, okay, I know what ayahuasca is. This thing is stronger than ayahuasca. Why the hell would I do that? And I'm like, okay, let me talk to them. Let's go and let's talk to the people.
Okay, so then I mean, to be honest, I said, let's go fucking. We had rented and like a buggy, like an RV kind of, not what
ATV.
ATV. We had rented ATVs, and that's how you kind of just get around in Tulum. And we went there to find out more information because I'm a very big skeptic and I have 2 billion questions and I have to make sure it's legit and you're not about to murder my husband kind of a vibe. So we had gone to this facility. It's actually very famous. There are signs all over Tulum for this one spot. It was very beautiful. There's like Indian teepees, like massive ones. There's like these jungles and these pools and hammocks and cool like artwork with Bufo, and it's very like beautiful and sacred. It's of like chairs to like, I don't know, sit or journal. And I just kind of wanted to make sure, like, can you die from this? And the answer is no. So you can't die from it, even though it gives you a near-death life experience. And at the same time, we just kind of wanted to get information. How much is it going to cost? What does the ceremony contain? Like all the information. And basically, it just all sounded legit. And I'm telling you, Ben really fucking needed the help. So, I mean, part of the reason why we went to Tulum, besides the fact that it was going to be cheap and it's like fun and I just know it. I just know Tulum like really well. I wanted to get Ben like a shaman or some fucking ceremony had to go down. It was like a non-negotiable. So we went there. We saw it was legit. It wasn't some fucking hole in the wall. It was like an actual fucking place with information and booklets and whatever the fuck. And they actually host different types of ceremonies there as well. We also met the people that would like be hosting the ceremony for Ben, and it would be like Ben by himself. And so we were just kind of like, let's fucking do this. I mean, I wasn't gonna do it, but like, let's fucking do this to save Benny. And we basically signed up for the next morning. Okay. And then one of the preparations is that you can't eat past a certain time. So you have to like do a fast. Otherwise you'll probably throw up, but you're not supposed to throw up. I'm going to ask Ben, what are some things that you did to prepare for this, like the night before? I think that you were guided to set like intentions. There was not eating, but also I think like you journaled or had to visualize. There were specific things that they told you that you had to like focus on. So I'm glad that we physically went there, but can you share some of the things if you can remember them?
Yeah, honestly, it was more about just setting the right intention, but also it was me personally just thinking like I might die tomorrow and to just figure out how I can separate my thought from that thought and just be optimistic in a way that like everything is going to be okay and that's going to heal me, and to set the intention that I'm ready to be healed. So yeah, I had to fast in the morning, and I don't remember if I wasn't supposed to drink water as well. I believe I wasn't in the morning either.
The night too.
Yeah, the night maybe as well. And yeah, I'm someone who can definitely like separate my emotion if I choose to from like something like this. For example, like if I see blood, I am not like someone who panics from it because I can separate it. Like My wife, no, she'll panic from just seeing blood. It's like something that if I choose to, I can separate myself. So I had to pretty much just try to stay calm. That's kind of like how I prepared myself. And, you know, I know what ayahuasca is, even though I never done it. I know it's 7 hours of you know, of a thing, of a, what do you call it? Ritual, ceremony. 7 hours of a ceremony. So, you know, I'm like, how the hell is this thing 1 hour has a better effect than ayahuasca? Because it for sure works. With ayahuasca, you might not get that effect and you throw up nonstop, most likely, from what I heard. If this thing gets more powerful, quick, and it for sure works, how the hell is this thing real? Like, I kept asking, is this actually real? Like, that's kind of like, I kept asking myself, is this actually going to work? Is this actually real? Am I going to die? Like, that's questions that...
But wait, I just want to put things into perspective. You keep saying that, but I don't want to scare people because you can't die from it. So, like, don't say that.
I don't...
you have a near-death life experience, but you can't actually die.
I don't... So yeah,
What did you prepare for?
How did I prepare? I already said how I prepared for it.
Yeah, like what was your intention?
My intention was, so my intention for this was just to be calm and receive. So when we got to the place, we walked in. I was calm. I was just, you know, really chill. We got to the two what do you call them, mediators, or just people that were like facilitators. We got to the two facilitators that were helping me. They walked us to the tent. You were still with me there, and then they told me to stand and open my arms out, and they put sage all around me, and they like threw it in there or whatever. And they asked me, what is your intention for this, for the medicine, is what they call Bufo. And I told them my intention is that I'm just being open to receiving and to be healed. And that's really what it was. I was just open to receiving whatever I need to receive in order to be healed. Can I share about what's next? Is it time?
I don't know, you guys. Is it time?
It's like a 2 episode?
No, it's not. I just want to give background and context.
Are you kidding me? This has been a lot of there's a lot of context and background so far.
Okay, so I'm gonna share that we went the next day with our ATVs, and I was really nervous. And I came with Ben. He had two facilitators, and I just kind of let them lead, and I was like on standby if something were to happen. But I wasn't just on standby, like I was praying for Ben the entire time, and just waiting patiently. I wanted to give him space, but then also know that I'm like nearby. And now, I mean, I want you to tell your experience, Ben, but I want you to do something for me, which is share it with detail, which Ben is not the best at sharing it with detail, but just for context for this episode, I want you to try to think of all the details, try not to leave anything out. And yeah, here's the mic.
After they put sage on me, they take me into the tent. I did a little semi-farewell to you, you know, saying that I'll see you in an hour. And so after they did the sage and asked for my intention, they took me into the teepee tent, me and the two facilitators, and my wife was waiting for me outside until it was over. And we walked in there, and it was pretty damn big, bigger than it looked from the outside, and it was really cool. And they sat me down, and they pretty much told me, okay, for the next like 15 to 30 minutes, we're just gonna teach you and show you how to do the breathing exercise, like how to do the breathing before you smoke the pretty much the medicine. And once they told me that, I started to get a little nervous, because I'm like, wow, this is actually happening, and this is kind of like crazy. And I don't know. It's just like, I guess, a normal reaction to kind of like, what the hell? You're doing something that's really different than what you ever done. And it's kind of supposedly really intense. And, they showed me the breathing, which you pretty much have to breathe uh, like 3 times in, 3 times out, hold the breath, and then do it again over and over again for like 3 rounds. And then after the 3 rounds, then you do the same thing. And when you hold the breath for like 10, 15 seconds, they give you the pipe to smoke and inhale the medicine. And it's hard, like after 3 times, and then to do that, and then hold your breath, and then get the medicine to go into your body. Like, it's really hard to do the breathing. Plus, I'm not a smoker, nor that I ever been, and I kind of hate it. So I guess, like, it made things a little more harder, I would say, for me, because some people like to smoke hookah. I'm not even good at that, and I suck at it, to be honest. So they did that with me. I was like, okay, I'm ready. After like doing it a few times, let's do it. Kind of nervous, and pretty much it was game time, and I was like, okay, relax, you're gonna be okay. I'm like, okay. They give me they brought the pipe. He put the medicine inside, and he's like showing me, look, when I like light this up, like you're gonna smoke it, and I'm gonna lay you down. Or the other facilitator, one was a guy, one was a girl. The other facilitator is gonna lay you down and put one hand behind your head, and there was a mattress under me, and they're gonna lay you down on it, and like slowly. I asked, like, okay, how long is it gonna take after I like smoke it until I'm gone, pretty much, and like the medicine will work? They're like, just a few seconds. I was like, what the fuck? Okay. So I did the breathing exercises. I did a few rounds, and then I was inhaling. They gave me the pipe. I smoked the medicine, and then the girl facilitator laid me down, put her hand behind my head, and laid me down. And a few seconds pass. Few more seconds pass. I open my like right eye, and I look to the side, and I look to the left and the right, and I see both of them with their hands together and their eyes closed in a Indian sitting, however you say that, Indian style sitting, like they're doing meditation or whatever. And a few more seconds pass, and it's been like a minute, and I'm like, this thing didn't work. I'm like, what the hell is going on? So I open my mouth. I tell the guy, I'm like, yo, I don't think, nothing's happening. Like, I don't think it worked. So he's like, okay, we're gonna do it again. Just stay there while you lay down. And I'm like, oh fuck, I have to do this whole thing again. And what the hell? I'm like starting to panic. I'm all sweating. I'm like, God damn, like now I need to do this whole thing again. Like, it's like already freaking out. So did the whole breathing exercise again while I'm laying down. And he's like, as soon as you're supposed to smoke it, turn your head to the right. I'm gonna give you the pipe while you're there, and then like make sure you inhale the medicine and like inhale it. So we did it. I'm inhaling the medicine, and I kid you not, I was breathing. I held my breath for like 10 seconds, or not even. It was like 6, 7 seconds while I was with the pipe in my mouth. I was literally getting blurry, and I passed the fuck out. Like, it was so strong that it wasn't like a 10, 20-second thing after I inhaled it. It was while I inhaled it. And it was like kind of like everything happened in slow motion. And then the madness started. So that's when the experience began, and I pretty much started to see kind of like those videos when you go into like the, like, what do you call it? Like the third dimension, those visuals. I know that not the fifth dimension, whatever dimension, it's just those visuals that that like are psychedelic visuals that you can like Google or whatever on YouTube, however you call that pretty much you're going through that. And I saw it in black and white. So I know you see videos about that, like that you're in the psychedelic and it's like visuals that you're like going through it in color, but I was there in black and white. I go through it, and while I go through it, I am literally fighting for my life because I am still conscious, and I'm literally not there, but all I can feel, all I know is that I can think in my head. And what was happening is I needed to surrender. And I was choking still. I could feel like my throat really hurting, and I was choking. And the stubborn person that I am had to pretty much surrender and let the medicine work. And pretty much the idea is I needed to say, okay, I'm letting myself die. That was the whole thing in order for that to start. So
To start or stop?
To start. Because if I'm not letting...
You did not know that. You felt like you were dying from what you said. You felt like you were dying. You didn't know that you need to surrender in order for it to start. You thought if you stopped fighting for your life, you're going to fucking die.
No. It works either way. But the longer that you are trying to fight it, the more you're suffering. So you pretty much have to say at one point, I'm out. And for me, it took me a while. I was still fighting because naturally you don't want to die. So in my head is like you're fighting to like stay alive, right? Like it hurts like so much.
Okay, time out. What hurts? Like you didn't actually describe. Like you talked about like needing to surrender, but you actually didn't talk about the fact that you feel like you were actually dying when you're seeing these cubes. You didn't talk about that.
You're right. So thank you for bringing that up. I'm trying my best to share, how I was going through it. But when I was going through that visual, my throat was hurting. And I want you to pretty much think of an old man that's in his deathbed that pretty much is barely moving, can barely do anything, and he is literally choking and his like last breath. And that's kind of like what's happening. He's like with his eyes like barely open, and he's like has a choice to either fight or not. That's the feeling, and you're like it just hurts.
Your throat,
your body, everything hurts. Like
I think I feel like I remember you said that like your chest hurt.
That was after.
Oh, okay.
So we're not there yet.
Okay.
Pretty much I had to, like, in my head, my throat was really hurting because you imagine all that smoke, like, it is really, so I was pretty much, I'm a really stubborn person that I was hard for me to just let go and say, okay, like, that's it. Surrender. But I was choking. I was literally fighting through that. And at one point, I said enough. And then it was kind of like a beautiful moment of peace where I remember really clear that I was pretty much literally it's like floating in space.
So did you die?
That's where I died. I'm getting to it. I definitely died. You said a near-death experience. It's not a near-death. You literally die.
Okay, hold on. We need to talk about this. Like, I've heard this story so many times, and knock wood, I don't want to ever feel what you felt. I've had near-death life experiences through life where I almost died. My brain, because I didn't do the thing, but everyone who has done it says you fucking die.
I know that because of the signs that were throughout that, and the facts that I'll share exactly what I saw show that I die. And maybe you should put this like as a what do you call it?
A trailer.
Yeah. But just but yeah, can I?
So you died.
100%.
I love how you always say this. You guys, I have to say this. Like, it's not maybe you died. I always ask Ben, like, so maybe you died. So like, are you sure? He's like 100%. He is so fucking confident about it.
Nothing is hotter than a husband who died.
No, what the fuck, Ben? Why are you saying that?
Delete that. I don't know. That's stupid.
That's a really bad joke. Okay. So then, like, what happened next?
So I was then floating in space, literally in peace. It's like everything was like there, but not there. And I was just literally floating in space. no stars, just in black air. Everything is just floating. And in that moment, it just felt so peaceful. Like everything was gone. But at the same time, the feeling is really undescribable. It's because it's like nothing was there. So,
Okay, so I just want to give context real quick. When you're saying that you were in the blackness, I'm just gonna give the viewers or the listeners some context. So I am a really big fan of Dr. Joe Dispenza. If you don't know who he is, definitely Google him. In 2019, I discovered him. He has an incredible life-changing book that's literally like my Bible, called Becoming Supernatural, where he teaches you how to basically have an out-of-body experience and travel to the fifth dimension, to 5D. It's a very, very, very difficult process. You can do it naturally under no substance. So with Bufo, you are basically smoking venom from a toad. There are different ways of getting to 5D. But for context, it took me some while to realize this after, like, throughout the day, after, the day after Ben had his ceremony. I was dissecting his experience and I started to realize that this is very similar to what I had done in 2019, which is Dr. Dispenza entering 5D. It takes a lot of steps. You need to be a powerful being, okay? You need to learn how to control your mind and your thoughts and your identity. There's a lot of steps into it, but I've actually done this meditation, which is also connected to Kundalini, and I've basically successfully gone to 5D 3 times, I believe, and I've activated Kundalini energy multiple times. You basically have you activate your Kundalini right before you go to 5D, to the fifth dimension. Now, Dr. Dispenza gets really deep on what the fifth dimension is and what it actually looks like, and it's very, very accurate to what Ben is describing. Dr. Joe Dispenza, a neuroscientist, basically says that it's 0.000000001% something and 9999999999999 nothingness. It's nothingness and everything at the same time. It's basically the abyss. It's blackness. And the only thing that you get to take there is your consciousness. It's really fucking deep. Your consciousness is basically your soul. So it's a very high density vibrational dimension to be in. Most human beings will never be able to get to 5D. It personally, myself, it scared the fuck out of me. It was beautiful, like Ben had described, but then it just, there were so many steps, and when I got there, I was like, wait, what am I supposed to do here? Oh, wait, yeah. And then there were things that were trying to take me out of it. I was having like a spiritual warfare on the other side. But the good thing about 5D is that you can basically, there's 3D manifestation, which is here and the now. You can manifest things. And I guess like when you're actually manifesting, you're it's coming from the fourth dimension, because if you're manifesting things, you're kind of cheating time and space, and time is the fourth dimension. And then I know this conversation is a lot for a lot of people. To me, it's just like the norm. So I'm sorry if it's too much for you, but try to follow along. And basically, the higher dimensions, you can basically manifest faster, because just like time doesn't exist in the higher realms, because time only exists where materialistic things exist. So in the fifth dimension, you can basically implant manifestations there and have this like major quantum leap moment. And now that I'm talking about this, I'm like, where the fuck's my Dr. Dispenza's book? I haven't done this in a really long time. Maybe it's time to do this fucking thing again. I've had a lot of really wild experiences since, like my gallbladder cleanse. That was psycho. And that was a spiritual experience. If you haven't heard that podcast episode, it's probably the one before this or 2 podcasts ago. Definitely listen to that. But that felt like a fucking spiritual experience. I have attempted to go back to 5D multiple times. Some were successful, some were not. I've had times where I've activated Kundalini by myself. Some people have people activate Kundalini for them. But so I just want to say that there are different ways of getting there. And me and Ben later on realized that we kind of entered a similar realm, a very like the same place. Isn't it wild how like some humans just never even know this exists and never even experience that? But where Ben actually went, the blackness, the abyss, that is the fifth dimension. So I just want to confirm from my personal experience, but also from Dr. Joe Dispenza, who's a neuroscientist and basically gets deep on like the science behind spirituality and spiritual experiences, and like actually proving that it all fucking exists and it's real. So yeah, just wanted to give that insight, but let's continue.
After that, I was getting some visuals, much flashes of things that happened as a young child, as things that were traumatizing for me, as like my childhood bullying that I had go through as a kid, as a young adult, as a kid, in high school or whatever. Then I've seen visuals of my grandfather, just kind of like telling me, he was really quick, saying everything will be okay, stop being stubborn, because he was a really stubborn man. I loved him so much. He passed away like 2.5 years ago, or 2 years ago or so. And he was really, really stubborn. And he had a lot of good things that I learned from him, I got from him, and I had a really good bond with him. But that stubbornness is also in my father's genes, or whatever you want to call it, and also in mine. So he's pretty much like giving me like some sort of a sign. It was really interesting. I then saw also me with Hafid, with my wife, and I saw us with a few children. I saw 3. I saw one boy with blonde hair, I would say between 5 to 8 years old, and 2 smaller children. One was a girl. That was really beautiful too. And I just pretty much was then just floating, and then I saw what's called, well, before I say what it's called, I saw a flashing white light, kind of like a lamp, but really, really far. Like I can't even say how far, it's like miles away. And then it kept like it's kind of like if when you blink, you just see it like closer and then closer and then closer and then a little to the side. The crazy part is that after this whole experience, apparently that's how they describe that you see God, is when you see that light. So technically, in that connection, when you do Bufo, when you do this whole thing, that's the actual connection between you and God and your higher self to God. And it's crazy because I didn't know that until after. Because obviously we researched more, but I really didn't know that that's the connection. So that whole thing was really crazy to me because I got some insane messages and I got some, from my past, and just to have that connection and the lights, and I didn't know what that was with my wife, kids, all that stuff. And that whole thing was like 20 minutes while I was kind of like there, from what I understood.
So just to like reiterate, so basically I'm just gonna like do like a fast forward, but just explain it deeper because you're explaining like your experience. But so initially you saw this like checker, whatever, this like what is this called, like a holograph, whatever, this weird trippy thing, and then you felt like you were dying and choking and you're like an old man having his last breath. You went to this black space, and then after that, you saw your entire kind of life flash before your eyes, childhood trauma, all the things. Oh yeah, and you also saw your grandpa who told you to surrender and let go, to not be so stubborn. So your grandpa, when he told you to surrender and let go, that was when you felt like you were dying?
No, I felt that was after the pain was gone. Okay. So I was already...
So basically you did this crazy thing where you just basically skipped into a few different timelines, because it's kind of like you experience death. So you're like an old man like experiencing death. And then at the same time you jumped into your younger self's timeline when you were a kid and shit like that, and like traumatic things happen. But then simultaneously, you were jumping into a future timeline that does not happened yet, where you saw our future children, which is really beautiful. And then your grandpa was there, which was like reiterating the fact, because you and your grandpa were really close. So you basically like jumped to a younger timeline and a future timeline. And the interesting thing about time is that time doesn't really exist, and everything's linear and everything's happening at the same exact time, and there's no end and there's no beginning. So that's like crazy. But if there was an end in the beginning, so does that kind of like paint out the timelines? Like, and then he saw God. He saw the white light that people describe when they die or when they have a near-death life experience, or something that we see in the movies where there's like the white light and you're headed towards the white light. I've actually heard a lot of people talk about the white light, that sometimes they saw it and then they had a choice and they were like, no, I'm not ready yet. Like people that, like people that had like surgeries and they were like supposed to die, they saw the white light and they looked at it and they saw themselves like on the operating bed, like through surgery. It's like they had like this out of body experience. I think it's like, how do I say it? Like it's kind of like an astral, like it's like an out of body experience. And they were headed towards the white light, and then they changed their mind and they went back because they had another mission or something. But does that like kind of play out the timelines?
Yeah, that's pretty much the timelines, I would say. Should I continue?
Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, I was told I was like out for like 20 minutes or so. I asked.
Did it feel like that, or did it feel like longer or shorter?
No, I felt like it was an hour, at least. But yeah, I asked how long was I there, and they said 20 minutes. But pretty much, I opened my eyes, and I couldn't move. I was literally like paralyzed. My whole body was numb. I couldn't feel anything. Only my eyes. And I opened them. I looked to the side. I wake up and I look to the side and I open my eyes to see like what the hell is going on. And I was really, really like numb and paralyzed, and I don't know what the hell was happening. And I just see the two facilitators with their eyes closed, sitting in the Indian style, like doing a meditation and just swinging their body. Like, you know how these cartoons just swing their body nonstop, left to right. And like, it's kind of creepy. And they're just doing that nonstop. And like, they didn't even notice that I was awake. They're just having the time of their life, just swinging their body. And I couldn't even do anything. I was just like paralyzed. I'm like, oh, fuck this. I'm just closing my eyes. I don't have the energy to do anything else. I'm just gonna give it a few minutes and see if they open their eyes. So I just closed my eyes while I'm resting. I'm like breathing really like heavy and hard to kind of like relax myself. And my stomach felt like I literally was born again, because my whole stomach was just like burning, but I couldn't move at all still. And it was like insane. So after a few minutes, I don't remember what I said, but I just looked at him and he saw me finally, and he's like, "Hey, are you okay?" I'm like, I'm okay, yeah. I can't feel anything. And he's like, "You're okay," or something like that. And he didn't. What he did was, he literally came to me like the devil. I don't know how to describe it, like without you seeing me right now, but he literally swung his body and his head so fast to me, and then he goes to my ear and he's like, ask me, do you want to go even deeper into the medicine? And it was kind of like the devil trying to convince you to do more while I'm fucking done. And he's like, because he didn't see me react like anything crazy.
Hold on, I do want to say this. So before Ben started his whole entire process, we had talked to the facilitators, and I was like, do people, like, you know me, like, do people scream? Do they cry? Like, what happens? Do they shake? Like, I had a million questions. And so, like, yeah, Different people have different responses, like over their body. Some people scream, some people cry, some people swing, some people like are kicking and moving like through the whole thing. And the thing about Ben was that just like his peaceful soul, he's just like such a peaceful, gentle soul. Like he wasn't doing any of it. Now everyone has, again, different experiences. Some people don't do anything at all. And Ben, that's a very small percent. I feel like I would cry and scream, but just like my wild soul. But Ben was just like chilling. And so they didn't even understand that he like, the medicine had hit him, that he even went under, that it even affected him. And I think it's also because when he first smoked it, it like didn't hit and he had to do it again. And he just like wasn't reactive at all, like physically. He didn't make any sounds. He was very peaceful is how they described him, which is literally like the identical definition of how his soul is as a human being. The guy didn't understand it, and so he's like, do you want to try it again? Like he's just kind of like, you know, like that.
But the way he said that, it was like, you know how you have like an angel and a devil on your shoulders and you're like, you have to pick between two. It's like he came at me like swinging his head like I'm like, no, man, like I couldn't really respond, but I just said, I'm good. No, I'm okay. But you know, if I were to do that, you know, I was, you know, I don't know if I would survive. Like, it was that intense. And this guy is a freaking killer. Like, I don't know what the hell. Like, how is he, like, you know? So, yeah, I could not. I didn't feel like it was right to push my limits in something this intense. So.
But I mean, you already had the experience, so I don't even know, like.
Yeah, but when you're there, you're like, okay, you like, I had the experience, yes, but in his eyes, he's like, you're here right now. You can literally experience more from that if you want.
But who the fuck wants to die 2 times in a row?
That's what I thought. This guy's, he does it like often. I don't know. He said he does it like every month or every few months. He's an expert at it, I guess. That's not me, but I'm good.
I remember him saying that he does it like once or twice a month, but
that's crazy.
Yeah, he looked like he does it twice a month, but it was also very nice. The girl was really nice. The girl actually surprised me. She seemed like she doesn't seem like a person that would ever do that. She's just like beautiful and healthy and just very like strong voice. Like, I don't know, but what maybe you don't know is what if it would have taken you to a different timeline? What if you didn't have to actually die? What if it just kept, you just kept going? Like maybe you just would have seen your grandpa longer. Maybe you would have seen like, you don't know.
The thing is the way I felt was so like my body was slowly coming back from feeling paralyzed. Like I still couldn't feel anything, but like my arms were like suddenly a little bit coming back, you know, it's like floppy. And then like my stomach, from my chest till my stomach, I never felt some sort of sensation, and it just felt so intense that I don't know if I could do the whole breathing thing again and inhale something like that again, because I feel like that could have even damaged me. So I just didn't feel like it was right. But slowly I was pretty much coming back to normal, not normal at all. I mean, I was coming back to feeling my body, and I remember that I got really emotional suddenly.
So what happened at this point? And so, okay, so Ben is doing this whole thing, and I was really, I'm going to say this, I'm going to give my perspective because now our timelines are aligning. I really thought I was going to hear Ben scream. Like, I wasn't outside the teepee. I gave it some space. I probably had like 25 feet in between me and the teepee, maybe more. There's probably like a little pool and like a wall and like a thing in between. You know, I like respected the space. I was praying for him. I was hoping that this was going to like heal him. I was hoping and praying for all the things. I wasn't even on my phone. I was just trying to like truly be like as present as possible. And then what happened was, it was hot as fuck, by the way. Tulum jungles in the summer. Oh my God, don't do it. Don't do the Tulum in the summer. But you can definitely do Bufo. But then the facilitator, the girl, came up to me, and it really reminded me of some shit out of the fucking movies. It was really one of those scenes where, those movies where there's somebody in the hospital and the whole family's like waiting in the waiting room and they're all exhausted and shit. And all of a sudden the doctor comes out and he's like, he would like to see you now. It was literally like that, because that's literally what she said to me. I was like, slowing down, waiting, praying, waiting to hear some screaming, and she just comes up to me and she's like, he's asking for you. He's awoken now. He's ready to see you now. He's asking for you. And I was like, oh my God, no one's ever asked for me. Like, that's so sweet. So I was like, is he okay? She's like, yeah. And I was like, how did it go? She's like, I think it went well. And I'm like, really? Like, did he scream? And she's like, no. And I was like, oh. And I'm like, is he okay? She's like, yeah. And I was really emotional seeing Ben, because he was just lying there. There was like this music, this very like little, like this like kind of yoga massage like music, this like probably like high hertz, this, I don't know, Native American. There was like this, and the guy was still an Indian style, swinging left and right, like in a yoga position, swinging left and right, protecting Ben's energy field. And Ben couldn't move, and he was crying, and I looked at him, and then like seeing him cry like made me cry. And then he's like, I saw our children. And I'm like, what? Like, it was like some shit out of the movies. I mean, like the whole thing, it was like out of the movies, just like instead of a hospital, it was a teepee. But, yeah, he's like, I love you so much. I'm so sorry. Okay, this is what happened. That's how it started. So Ben was like, I love you. I can't move. And he's like, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry for everything I put you through. And he just started crying like crazy. And I'm like, oh my God, I love you. And then he's like, I saw our children. We're going to have three. We're going to have three. There's going to be a boy. He had blonde hair, and a girl, and then a boy. And I saw my grandpa, and I'm like crying because Ben's like so emotional and he can't stop crying. He's like, I'm sorry, I love you so much. I'm so sorry for everything I put you through. And it was just like so emotional. And then we have like this audience and they're watching us, and it was wild. It was wild. Do you have, you can talk now, Bashi. Go for it.
Yeah, I was really emotional. It wasn't easy for me at all. Like to feel what I felt, to what I saw. I was really grateful for you being there with me there, and I just...
Sorry, I want to know, like, would you have done it if I wasn't there with you?
I think so, but I think it was really, really helpful in a way that, like, I had a loved one next to me, because first of all, you would definitely, like, what you did is you came and you tried to get all the information you could from me before I forget it. Mm-hmm. Like, you were asking me a million questions, and I'm like, dude, I'm just trying to relax, because I know you wanted to make sure I don't forget.
Yeah.
And it's smart. So I think it's definitely for that reason good.
I mean, I was also really curious.
But no, I don't know. Like, everyone is different. But for me, for example, for what I think it's best to have someone be with you, because after you might need someone to be there for you, because
hold on. So you just reminded me, it's not about, first of all, you were highly recommended to have somebody there for you. You were not allowed to drive afterwards.
Right.
They told you, it's not like doing surgery, but like you don't. Oh, okay, wait, I forgot to say this. So after you do Bufo, they tell you to be in nature, which is something you forgot to mention. You have to spend the next few hours in nature, and you should be journaling and kind of reflecting and like processing and shit like that. So we had basically decided to make like a whole day out of it, where we thought we were going to take the ATV to a cenote and kind of be in the jungle, even though it was kind of like rainy and it was kind of like weird weather and there's puddles everywhere. It was kind of, we had to like actually like plan this in advance, because you're supposed to be in nature, because it's very like overstimulating to have like such a spiritual experience and then be immersed into like birth to like society, to civilization, where people are honking and there's loud music and people are drinking and laughing and just like being obnoxious and crazy, and there's like just a lot going on. It's really overstimulating to the mind. You just like kind of gone through like a near-death life experience, and so the last thing you should be doing is overstimulating the fuck out of yourself. So that was something that you were recommended to do for 6 hours after. You were also recommended to drink a big coconut, a lot of hydration. So those were like the two main things. I don't know if you're supposed to eat like right away.
No, they said to hydrate is the most important. Remember what happened with the coconut? When we were looking for a coconut right when we left?
You're supposed to hydrate, and then you're supposed to immerse yourself in nature and take it really easy for the rest of the day. So the point is, we had to like kind of plan it, and I had to like, find us a cenote and just be really, really gentle with Ben. I don't know why I jumped into that. Oh, because you couldn't like drive yourself. They told you specifically don't drive yourself, so you shouldn't do it like when you're alone. The only other alternative is like maybe taking a taxi, but I just feel like if that was me, I would be like too disoriented to even, I would be concerned for my well-being, like getting into a taxi by myself after some shit like that. Like, I don't know, I wouldn't trust. I'd be scared I'd get raped or some fucking shit. But yeah, so you woke up, you were emotional. Is there anything else that you remember that you told me? Anything you want to like add to that?
I remember that I told you that I couldn't feel my body, and you were asking me the questions of the experience, which we shared already here, and then
Slowly got up.
Yeah, you helped me get up, and
Kind of.
I was okay. I was fine. Yeah, I was just like my body felt exhausted, at first, and I was just really emotional, but I really felt like got out of. I felt like I was born again. I don't know how to explain it. Really can't explain it, but it's just a crazy experience.
Okay, so you feel like you're born again, but like, can you just like keep it real? You're fucking okay. You're walking. Like, don't scare people and make them think that they can't fucking walk afterwards because you're walking totally fine.
I'm sorry if I'm scaring anyone. I'm just literally trying to share the experience the best I can without thinking of other people right now, just so I can be as present as I can to share the most accurate as I can. That's all.
Okay, but the most accurate is that you ended up sitting up after 5 minutes. You were totally fine, and you walked out and you were okay.
Oh yeah, I was fine. I went to the cenote after that too, and I jumped into the water. I was fine. Like, it's not like, it wasn't like I'm like I already died. I'm good,
That's actually funny because that's what Ben kept saying for like probably 2 weeks or more after the ceremony. It was like, nothing's bad because I already fucking died and I'm alive, so fuck it. That was like an ongoing thing that Ben kept saying. And I want to say that Ben was really struggling before this experience. He was very, 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 very highly depressed. He was not okay. There were moments in that year span where I was, a very long time, I was really scared to leave him by himself because I didn't trust him with himself. I was scared that he would hurt himself or something bad would happen. Ben was struggling with like suicidal thoughts and stuff like that. And I think that, and I want to say this, like in my younger years and in certain timelines, I did have suicidal thoughts and stuff like that. Mostly for me, for being like misunderstood in things. But what's wild is I once had this like really weird experience where I like died. I don't know how, I will never know how the fuck to explain this. It was after my friends from High on Life died in a tragic accident. And I was crying like fucking crazy, like psycho, like murder, like 3 friends that died. And I was so hysterical and I wasn't eating and I wasn't drinking and I was just home alone. I was like screaming and crying. And then I had this like calm moment where I don't know what the fuck, but I tapped into this field. I do want to say, like, I don't know who's listening to this and if you know who I am, but I'm highly gifted in the spiritual realm. And I I have a lot of supernatural abilities, psychic abilities. I'm a medium. I have clairvoyancy. I have all this stuff. I can do astral projection. I've gone to 5D. I've gone to the fifth dimension. I've done a lot of fucking crazy ass shit. And I don't know, I can just sometimes tap into crazy shit. And I kind of tapped into, I don't know how the fuck to explain this to you guys. I had kind of like drifted off in like a nap in hysteria to something very similar to what Ben describes as like the black abyss space, whatever the fuck you want to call it. And for a moment, I felt like what it was like to die. And I think it came from a place of just like being so sad for my friends and just kind of wanting to understand like where they are, like when you die, like where does your soul go? Where are you? What happens? Like, I don't know, when I was younger and I would have suicidal thoughts, I would always picture like, what would they say at my funeral? What would my funeral look like? What would, I would play these stupid fucking games. But what I want to say is that I went to this blank space, into this abyss of nothingness. And I do have it was a wild experience. And I have a clear understanding of what it's like to die and like different variations. While I don't have Ben's experience, but after experiencing that, I kind of understood that I never want to kill myself, because like it's just blank. It's just like nothingness. It's like nothing and everything but nothingness, and it's just blackness. And like the soul does feel freedom and peace, but like I don't want that. Like I'm not interested in that. And so the reason why I bring this up is because I know that Ben was really struggling with like not sure if he wants to be here anymore. And I think that after you have an experience like that, you kind of like, if you were questioning if you should kill yourself and then you had a near-death life experience where you fucking died, you're kind of like, I don't want to fucking die, Is that true? Like, you just are like, I fucking died and that shit was wild and I'm just grateful to be alive. And that was like probably one of the best sentences that I kept hearing you say, is like, I'm just so grateful to be alive. And it doesn't matter because I'm alive, because I died last week and I'm alive.
Yeah, I definitely think that that's, something that, you feel like you experienced the worst, and then you're thankful that you have another opportunity. It's kind of like a movie, like you're just thankful, you're grateful for being alive. It's really, you can't say it in a different way.
Do you believe that this is like a deep, I don't know, this is like a sensitive topic, that's what I want to call it. Do you believe that if someone's suicidal and they do that it kind of changes them?
I think that it can only help, in my opinion. I think that it is, like they say, the ego remover, but
ego killer.
It does something to your neurons in your brain and does some connections and does something really good. It could take a few weeks for certain things to happen as well. But at the same time, it's not, in my opinion, it's I don't think it's a magic pill, if that answers the first question on this whole thing. I think it's extremely helpful for people. I don't think it's like, okay, I did it and that's it. No, you have to, from what I learned, you have to continue to work on yourself and continue to work on what you need to work on, because that is what's going to fix you.
But they also tell you that.
And they tell you to keep, journaling and keep doing this after. And they followed up with me a few times, and that was really nice.
Okay, but so I just want to say that you have this like spiritual experience, and then throughout the next few days and weeks, you're supposed to like basically get more downloads and stuff, and things are supposed to shift over time. I think that there's just different, what?
No, I said you're right. Yeah.
But you have to, stay on the vibration, let go of resistance, be open to receiving, because if you're not open to receiving, then you're gonna fucking fuck that shit up and block yourself. And then, because the point of Bufo is basically the death of the soul, the death of the ego, not the soul, the death of the ego, and then you're kind of reborn, and then you're just supposed to be operating from soul. Some people access that like overnight, and then other people, it just takes them a little bit longer. Do you want to tell us if there are like, like some of the things that you felt afterwards, like, I don't know, not things, like benefits, like what were some of the things that you noticed that were different, that were better? Like, how did it change you for the better?
I feel like I was just more easygoing at the time. I feel like there's things that I can definitely say I am less stubborn on, and I think overall it helped me with just being a better person in general, and to myself and to people around me in different ways. Maybe it opened my eyes in different ways as well, and me just being more open to receiving. I think it's something that helped. I don't have all the answers, but I feel like overall it definitely.
How did it help you though? You're not telling us how it actually helped you. Like, just it made you easygoing? Like, I can be easygoing without having to die.
What do you mean? When I went through that experience itself, the fact that I went through a death experience,
I think it made you really grateful to be alive.
yeah, that whole experience is a lesson for me.
And I'm asking.
Right. So that's the main thing for me that I experienced. That lesson itself, that I know that I have another chance, is the thing that showed me the most of why it helped me. Like the fact that I went through that experience itself helped me.
Well, of course it helped you, but the question is how. You're not telling me how. You're just saying that it made you easygoing. So I think one of the things that it helped you with is that there were certain things that you used to be a big deal, or you used to like care about, that you just kind of like let go, and you're just like, I don't care. Like, it's kind of like I would say to you, like, want to eat falafel tonight or pasta at X place, and you're like, doesn't matter to me, like, I'm just grateful to be alive. Like, it was just everything. You would just kind of say stuff like that. Yeah, you had this timeline where you were talking a lot about nothing could be worse because I already died, so it's all good now.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think that it just changed my perspective on things and my behavior when it comes to being more optimistic and positive in different ways.
What would you tell somebody who's never done it? Would you recommend it, and what would you tell them? What advice would you give them?
I would definitely recommend it to someone who is seeking help in any type of way, if it's mentally, emotionally, I guess even physically. I don't know. And I think that it's something that could definitely only benefit you. I don't see a downside on that. I just think that the fear of doing that is the downside from that.
Is there anything that you want to say? Would you do it again?
That's a question that I asked that to myself multiple times already, and I definitely think that it's something I would want to do again, but it's really, really challenging, like, when I think that, because the pain and the what I went through, it's not like a little ice bath and like I'm done. It's like, it's kind of like that, but it's a little more intense, and that's kind of like, but I would do it again when the time aligns, and I think, yeah.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Ben. We really appreciate you coming on the channel and sharing your story. I hope this story was inspiring to you guys. I really made this podcast episode because I know a lot of people are curious about things like this, and anytime Ben ever shares that he's tried Bufo, people are very fascinated. And I also wanted him to have this memory and to just help and serve as many people as possible. So we hope that you enjoyed this podcast episode, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.